What's going on, guys? Welcome back, and today we're going to be doing another Diorama build, and this build all came from that 3D printed war boss who we're going to be calling Nobrot Burner Boss, the Orc war boss. Now, what I really love about being a diorama builder is definitely the fact that I can choose to buy and paint pretty much any model that picks my fancy. With that in mind, I've painted up lots of different factions, and I have come to choose and decide which factions I prefer to paint and which ones are harder to paint than you originally think, and Orcs definitely fall into that category. I find them a lot harder to paint than I initially thought they would be. To begin with, it was, they're just green men with some checkers, and different colours mean different things. But actually, whilst you're painting them, that's when you start to realise, different colours mean different things. Maybe should be a little bit more choosing in the colours that I use. Doesn't hold you back, but it definitely puts a lot more thought into it than you initially realise. So with that in mind, I tried to choose some colours that would fit in with an Orc warband that has potentially just captured a group of Imperial Guard, and they're about to just have a bit of fun and play with them before finally just sort of smashing them to pieces because Orcs want to be fighting. Some of my favourite supplies to use whilst building these dioramas is, as you can see at the bottom there in the black, is EVA foam sheet, and I like having that as a nice base so that when you put it down on things and when it's on display finally, it's not just smacking around the place, and it protects the surfaces that you're putting it onto. But on top of that, I've got some plywood coasters. If you just go on Amazon or into most hobby shops, they will have them. They sort of make your own, paint your own style coaster jobbies, but I think they work fantastic for basing jobs. And then I'm going to apply some pressure. But to do that, I don't want that glue sticking to whatever books I put down. I don't want to ruin them. Just a little bit of grease-proof paper, stick it down, and then put your books on top, because this will peel off easy as anything later, and it's not going to ruin your books, and it's not going to ruin the base that you're trying to build. Now, I've already got an idea in my head of what I want to build and how I want to build it, but to get a more natural look, I'm just going to start randomly cutting up bits of packing polystyrene and see what looks the most natural, instead of trying to force it, because that will end up looking less natural if it's forced. So let's give it a go, see what happens, and see what we end up with. So now that I've chosen myself parts of the polystyrene, I made all that mess for these two not exactly massive bits. What I want to do is sort of, I don't know why, with that vibe that I get from the Orc war boss is kind of, how do you put it, Lion King-y? I don't know, I just can see him, you know, on top of Pride Rock, holding up Simba, but instead he's holding up a flamethrower and dragging a commissar with him. So that's kind of like the idea of what I was going for, and these two bits have worked out really nicely for that. So we're just gonna put this all together now, and I don't know, for whatever reason I put some toothpicks in it thinking, hey, these would be cool, it'd be like spikes, and then I can put some skulls on them, and then when I was sanding the edges, I speared myself on the toothpicks. So just beware, toothpicks are violent. So now that we have the Just Say No to Toothpicks campaign well and truly on the way, let's get this terraforming done. Now, usually with my dioramas, I don't like to put two forces on show, if that makes sense. I like to leave it a lot of open for your own interpretation so that you, as the viewer of the diorama, can conceive and create and imagine what you believe to be the big bad or what else is happening in that environment. But for this one, it's a little different because the model has come with that Imperial Guard officer. So I have written a little story of what I think this diorama says to me. A stale fear hung in the air. My fellow guardsmen and I were lumped together into this metal cage. The cheering and leering of orcs and the screams of man cut through us all. Before the battle, before the basilisks pummeled the ground and shook the air, before the greenskins came to our planet, I'd spent time in this mountainous area. Peace, calm and tranquility would have been the way to describe this proud rock, but not today. Well, look here. What's we got? One of them fancy humies. Look at this, boys. My heart sunk. They had Captain Reed. He was always one of my favourite officers. Cared enough to remember your name at least. He was firm but fair. Didn't shoot a man for thinking of deserting, but he definitely shot one that tried. A true champion of the Emperor's justice. Those poor bastards. The war boss, Nobrick Bernabos, was giving everyone dragged before him a choice. A dead man's coin toss. Choose to be hunted for fun or burned alive for sport. Only the ones left able to stand on their own 2 feet at least were given this chance to be hunted. It's like those creatures wanted us to fight back. How could we? How can we? The sudden blood-curdling scream said it all. Captain Reed probably didn't make it far. Must have been like falling into a stampede. Like a lion thrown to the wolves. There ain't no worries for the rest of his days. His days are over. A shadow loomed over the cage. A shift in what was camaraderie now turned to who can get out of the way, who can get deeper into this trap, leaving the weak and former friends to fend for themselves and be chosen in the next slot of entertainment. Well guys, I really hope you've enjoyed this one. I've had a lot of fun making it, and I had a lot of fun coming up with that little story. It was only a short one, but hey, what do you expect from me? I make the models, you make the story. Guys, as always, if you've enjoyed, remember to like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. If you've enjoyed it, I'm sure you know someone else out there that will enjoy it as well. And I really do hope to see you in the next one.